Hey everyone. So Numinus Wellness has been uplisted on the Toronto Stock Exchange, which means more institutional eyes will be on this stock. So what does this mean going forward into 2022? Find out now in our latest podcast with CEO Payton Nyquvest. Payton Nyquvest, Numinus, here in downtown Toronto. Great week, huh?
Great week. Nice to be here.
I know. Good to have you back on. But I've obviously happy holidays to you and the family. But big news yesterday. TSX Uplisting. How was the day? And most importantly, probably going to get a lot of analyst coverage now. But what does this mean for the company?
Yeah, the day itself, it's funny. So when we went public on the TSX Venture was right when COVID was really hitting. And we were one of the first companies to do a virtual bell ringing.
Right.
Now with the uplisting to the TSX and things opening up more so now, we were actually one of the first companies to do an in-person bell ringing, and it was great, man. I think what was really, really cool and exciting is the TSX is really seriously looking at the space, and that was very evident. Yeah, so that was really cool, and we got to bring out a bunch of the team who, we have an amazing group of people that is really focused on the operations side of things, and hasn't had a lot of exposure to capital markets, and got to come down and did the bell ringing with 20 some odd of the team. And
it's great.
It was really cool. Yeah.
So when they say the TSX is looking at the space, most specifically with your company, what's some of the feedback that you're receiving from them as to why this was a fit and what they like specifically about your company? Because you're going to get a lot of analyst coverage moving forward.
On a bigger scale, impact investing obviously is a big conversation at the moment, and I think the space really, huge opportunity for disruption and innovation, and also, making, I would argue, the most significant impact that we need on the planet right now.
Right.
So, and I think, again, all the things we know, really exciting research happening at the moment, really exciting regulatory changes happening at the moment, and more broadly, even just the reduced stigma and really identified need around new mental health treatments.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you think it means for the industry? But, we keep going down this road, and there's a lot of optimism for people that do follow this. But in the event that there is positive feedback, which hopefully we're anticipating, what this will mean for the industry heading into 2022?
I think the special access program, I would anticipate some exciting changes potentially before the end of the year. Health Canada loves to make these changes during the holidays because
why is that?
They try and quietly, open it up. There's still going to be some things to figure out, but I think they're very, very seriously. I don't think these amendments are going to be taken lightly. I think it's going to be a serious shift, and I think it just.
What could we anticipate if we do see change? Do you know?
If you look at the special access program. Really what it means is you're going to have referring physicians who can refer people to the special access program, and there's a lot of confusion around. If you look at the Section 56 exemptions, there's no clarity in terms of timeline of when a patient gets access, or even if they do get access. With the special access program, Health Canada has to respond within 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
So you make an application, that application gets submitted, and in 48 hours, you've got a go or no go. So it's significant. And I mean, it's not final state, but it's a huge step forward. Step forward. And I think what Health Canada needs to see, and what's really exciting about psychedelics, is the special access program just needs to be applied to anything that's showing clinically positive data.
Right. Which you have tons.
Which you've got tons of in the psychedelic space for a wide range of indications, right? Everything from PTSD to smoking cessation. So there's a huge range there that we can apply for that is all clinically backed research and data. And that's all that Health Canada needs. So it's big, man. It's really, really big. And I think, in Canada, we just have such a huge opportunity in Canada to really lead the way for what this looks like, and in a way that's accessible and is not restrictive. So it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Really, really exciting.
Well, let's talk about you. Q1 collaboration with Maps.
Yeah.
Timeline on that as to what we're looking like. We look back at the year that was had, and there was so much growth. Thinking, where do we even begin? But going into 2022, we look at this week's uplisting of the TSX. We're probably going to see a lot of collaboration within the actual industry itself.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, I like to ask this question a lot, but what are some important questions that investors need to obviously ask themselves when entering this space? But how do you see the industry unfolding as we head into 2022?
You know, I think 2022 is going to be really, really exciting. You know, this.
In what way?
I think you've seen a real education on the market side, on the investor side, around like what's going to happen, or where is value being created in the space, right? So with psychedelic therapy, you know you're going to need in-person treatment.
Right.
That's already well defined. We know that. And on the drug side, there's lots of room for innovation on the drug side at the moment. But with the recognition that the drugs are tools to be used in therapy, right? And so we've sort of gotten a good education on that. You've now seen, you know, as we just talked about, increased regulatory support. So you're seeing that, you know, continue to be moved forward. And I think, to your point, the other thing we've seen is a consolidation in the space early, which was necessary.
Right.
And there's lots of room for collaboration, because the thing we're all aiming at is still a very, very large addressable problem. But I think you're going to see a lot more focus around accessibility,
right.
A lot more focus around, you know, what does this look like from a business model standpoint? Who's generating revenue? Who's paying for the therapy? Who's paying for the drug? I think those are questions that, you know, could potentially start to get answered in 2022.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, with the special access program and maybe more regulatory change, we're going to see these drugs start to be used, you know, in a real world setting.
Yeah.
Right? Outside of a research context.
Is that exciting when you say that?
It's the best. It's really
the stigma has really changed with the overall industry, has it not?
It certainly has. You know, and I talk about this a lot, but you know, you look at the MAPS data, right?
Yeah.
Which is so compelling. Even the Compass data is super compelling. If I came to you and said, if I didn't say MDMA, right? If I came to you and I said, guess what? I've got this new treatment, phase 3 clinical trials, over 80% success rate,
right.
with significant reduction in symptoms for PTSD, treatment-resistant PTSD, and a 67% cure rate,
right.
for PTSD with 3 treatments.
Right.
You'd have people.
I know, it's a great way of putting it. I
lined
never
up
looked at it that way.
Down the street and around the corner.
I know.
Right? And so this idea of like the stigma around the drug, you know, really comes off a lot when you're focusing on those numbers. So I think, you know, the stigma's certainly reduced. You've seen a lot of, you know, just popular culture support for psychedelics, which is great. And there's a lot of great education out there, and that needs to continue. But there's a lot of adoption for the space.
Yeah. You mentioned MAPS. So Q1, you begin the trials, the collaboration agreement. For those that understand, timeline, maybe an update.
Obviously continuing to help MAPS produce the data. They have a certain amount of data that they need to capture to move through phase 3. So helping with that. But also now, you know, as we just talked about with the special access program, starting to move the protocol to be shovel ready for in-clinic use. Training, you know, as many practitioners as humanly possible at the moment, because that's really the bottleneck at the moment is enough trained practitioners. So getting the training going and then getting prepared for special access and maybe something even more significant around medical access for MDMA. And MAPS anticipates MDMA being legal in 2023.
Wow.
So we're like a year out with not only that, all these, you know.
So what's that do for you?
It's you know, MAPS thinks that their ballpark is they estimate $2 million a day in revenue from just the sale of MDMA, the drug.
$2 million a day.
Yeah, in just the sale of MDMA, the drug.
And that's in Canada or North America?
That's in North America.
Wow.
That's in the U.S. Not including therapy. That's just the sale of the drug.
$2 million a day.
Yeah. And they're anticipating having insurance coverage for the treatment day one.
Day one.
Yeah.
Wow. So one of the things that we heard when we were in Miami is that insurance companies are going to get involved in this.
Yeah.
How soon do you think that occurs?
I think it's day one. I think Canada, one of the things that's interesting about the Special Access Program that sort of like helps pave the way for that is if you think about this from an advocacy standpoint, right? So Health Canada is going to approve this treatment, right, in the Special Access Program, and we have a universal healthcare system. So if Health Canada is giving the thumbs up on yes, we can do this, then why would it not be covered under, payment support,
right,
through Health Canada,
right?
So I think you see that come very, very quickly, and I think insurance companies, from what I can say from the conversations we've had, is they're very, very serious. They're looking for new treatments, and the psychedelic space presents a lot of opportunities for insurance companies to get people back to work. Right? Someone who's got a debilitating...
A company like Bell, obviously, right?
Exactly. And companies, who have employees who have debilitating mental health challenges, this is an opportunity, again, the MAPS data, 3 treatments of MDMA. It's like a 3-month protocol.
Think of the amount of people in the workforce right now that are away on stress leave.
Exactly.
Even prior to COVID, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, as I said earlier, as we start to see 2022 unfold, consolidation will appear. You've raised a lot of money in the past. Fundamentally sound is from a financial perspective. You're in a great position. And, I think we'll start to see a lot of the companies that are leaders in the space really come to the forefront now.
Agreed.
As well with the uplisting this week, with the TSX. Is this kind of an alert to let people know that, retail investors obviously is a key component for you to focus, but do you start to see a lot of institutions take notice of like what you're doing? Because as we look at the collaboration agreements, the research that's being conducted, the people that you've assembled, you and amongst a few others are going to be leaders in this space. Do you agree with that, obviously? And if so, explain why.
I very much agree. I think for investors, it's always important to remember institutions buy where they can,
right,
and retail buys where they have to, right? And when the retail's not in the market at the moment, and institutions are doing what they do, which is try and find the cheapest possible entry point.
100%.
And these are big institutions that can get involved in people's markets and find spots to find great deals.
I know.
Right? You're seeing that at the moment for sure. And
are you surprised with how it's performed in the last couple of months, or not really?
Yeah, not really. Things were crazy.
I know.
At the end of last year and the beginning part of this year, it was crazy. And I think, as much as I don't want shareholders to, be down on their investment at any point in time. Things in the space generally got ahead of themselves. Do I think the baby's been thrown out with the bathwater? In our story and some of the other leaders in the space, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's a great opportunity.
It's a 3 to 5 year story.
It's a 3 to 5 year story. I'm buying the stock.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the important thing is that people understand. It's just crazy the way people want things like tomorrow, like yesterday.
For sure.
And they want their investments to react the same way. And easier said than done. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, the efficacies that's being produced, the special access program being potentially modified, insurance companies getting involved, and at the end of the day, it works.
When if I look at this fundamentally, right? You already know you've got regulatory support that's continuing to happen.
Right.
The research numbers continue to be compelling. The stigmas, continuing to go down. Significant capitals come into the space.
Yeah.
What else? What else do you need to see?
Yeah.
Yes, you need to know that this is a 3 to 5 year.
Yeah.
But the opportunity for disruption is massive.
You talked about a good entry point for institutions, but I think that's exactly it. Conversations I've had the last month post Miami was, we feel strong about the industry, what it's producing. And, I don't want to speculate, but we could see, a lot of entry points coming in even as soon as like next month.
I think you're seeing it now to a degree. I think if you look at the markets in general, life sciences was the worst performing sector of the year.
Yeah.
The year before that, it was one of the best performing sectors.
Right.
You know, and psychedelics are certainly on the more risk side of life sciences, right? So when an entire sector is down,
right,
usually the most risky stuff gets hit the hardest. And I think you've seen that this year. And I think 2022, you know, the big markets had a very big year this year. And I think that trickles down to the small cap space. And I think you see a very strong rebound in the life sciences space. And I think psychedelics are going to really be the beneficiaries of that. That being said, I do think there's going to be a separating of sort of the leaders from those that maybe thought that there was a short-term opportunity and haven't been able to raise the capital. So if I was an investor, I would really like take a look
100%.
at who's raised a significant amount of capital, who's not going to need to rush to market.
Yeah.
You know, the second that the market does turn, you know, who's there to be able to sort of just continue to execute on a business plan, not rush to raise capital and dilute. And, you know, we're in the good fortune of having a very significant cash position at the moment and great revenue coming in from both business lines and ready to rock in 2022.
It's great. I learned so much from you every time.
I love hanging out.
Last thing I wanted to ask is, and I've been asking this to a few people in the industry, we got a holiday video coming up next week, but wanted to ask, what are you most grateful for about the industry and your team over the last 12 months?
Oh man, overarchingly, the fact that I get to do what I do for a living is incredible. And, you know, just to the point that we talked about, regulatory support, research, positive numbers, you've seen financial support. Like, the fact that this is happening and it's happening so quickly in our lifetime is so exciting. And the team that we have is, we have an incredible group of people that are so passionate, you know, I wish any person who is looking to be a potential investor, come talk to one of the staff and come see how hard they work, how excited they are, and how driven and motivated you know they are. And for me, like, I could not be more grateful for the team that we've got.
Anybody you want to wish happy holiday season to?
Everybody, man.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well said.
I really hope, you know, it's been a challenging period for everybody. And, you know, I hope this holiday season people get a chance to just really unwind,
appreciate
relax,
the moment, right?
Yeah, hang out with family or friends, whomever, and appreciate what you've got. We've got a lot to be grateful for. So
a lot of feedback you hear from people online about you is, you know, expertise in the capital markets with your background, but also a leader in the space who can really tell where you can see it comes from the heart with what you're doing. And I know I've asked you this before, but I'll ask you again as we wrap up this year. What does this whole initiative that you're doing for this company mean to you?
You know, psychedelic therapy saved my life. And I don't say that passingly or lightly. And when I came out of that experience, anything I could do to grant that opportunity to even just one other person was so important to me. And right now I have the opportunity to try and grant that to millions of people. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that happens. And
well said.
I'm looking forward to it.
Happy holidays.
Likewise.
All right.
Thanks, man.